Welcome back then. Let's take a look at how the markets have performed. It was a bit of a mixed picture early on with regards to the Asian trading picture, and that's pretty much how it closed things off. 0.4% higher than for lower, should I say, than for the Nikkei index then out in Japan then, while the Hang Seng in Hong Kong was up nearly 1%, so the biggest gainer around in that region. Over to the European market though, we're seeing positivity all across the board. The biggest gainers in terms of points was the DAX, that's up 0.9%, but 1.5% better off is the CAC 40 then as well out in France. So good market picture there across Europe, which is filtered through to the local market as well, which is 0.5% better off at present at 55,106 points. Even though financials have dipped down because of course, the banking counters going down nearly 1%. The big gainers today are industrials, 0.8% better off, so some good numbers coming through on that front, while 0.5% better off for the resource shares, and that is despite gold miners going down because platinum miners have seemingly made up for those losses, going up 1 2/3% on that front. In terms of positivity, nearly 8% higher Tsogo-san in this lunchtime trading picture, while African Rainbow Minerals is up 5.75% as well, enjoying a positive day across the board, 230 Rand a share. Mediclinic is, however, unfortunately down more than 3.5% this afternoon, with Datatech following in a similar vein, 3.3% weaker. Telkom also going down, even though they've actually applied to the Competition Tribunal to perhaps look at the conversation and perhaps even the deal between Vodacom and Rain, the new data provider. Then Telkom believes that the conversation between the two, or the partnership between the two, actually has been the result of a merger. Vodacom and Rain are able to use each other's infrastructure. It's an infrastructure deal, that is, and that is paramount, or Telkom believes anyway, is tantamount to it being an actual merger. So very interesting out on that front. But for today though, down 3.15% is Telkom. Onto the commodities board, a big fall of more than 1% then for Brent crude, still above $42 a barrel though, so really interesting on that front that things haven't necessarily changed. It still hovers within that range of between $40 and $45 a barrel there. Platinum counters, well, those are off by just around 0.5%. Platinum itself going down to $860 a fine ounce there. Slight incline for gold, but not much to speak about there, as you can really tell. 0.04% at present, $1,908 a fine ounce there. Strength for the local currency despite yesterday's economic recovery plan. Perhaps a little bit too much of a sell-off there. More than 1% lost initially yesterday after President Cyril Ramaphosa divulged that reconstruction and economic recovery plan for the country. Today we're better off by 0.7% back towards 16 Rand 53 against the US dollar. A euro will set you back 19 Rand and 38 cents, and if you have 21 Rand 33, it'll then get you a pound at present. Warwick Lucas from Galileo Capital joins us now to unpack this market picture a little bit more. Warwick, still not too much to write home about on the economic front, but rather should I say on the equity front. So perhaps let's start on the economic front just a little bit. The plan yesterday coming through from President Cyril Ramaphosa, hopefully on an average basis grow the economy by 3%. Is that really the limits we're at right now? Can we not do more than that?
Good afternoon, Arabile. Look, I think if we actually hit 3%, I think one would be highly delighted, given the current predicament that the economy finds itself in. Obviously, in the very short term, we're looking for a rebound to drive the economy a bit better than that. So when they talk about 3%, I guess they're looking beyond the post-COVID rebound, obviously. So 3%, I mean, I guess that's in the context of a population level that's relatively stable. So 3% growth would lead to a real growth in incomes, and I think stands a chance at helping deal with unemployment. Obviously, it sounds like a bit of a low target, but quite frankly, given the last decade that we had, actually achieving that as a first target would, I think, be a goal that would encourage the nation and perhaps lead to more. So yeah, I think it's a positive start.
Yeah, look, it certainly is a starting point, and that's what we hope it really just is, just the start. And hopefully we implement all those plans. Did you take sense of positivity? Did you get a sense of urgency coming through from the president when he announced this plan?
I certainly do get a sense of urgency of getting down to tin tacks and starting to get things done. I mean, for a very long time, Minister Mbowene's plans have very much been, to all intents and purposes, appearances being pie in the sky. I get the sense of rubber starting to hit the road now, with details coming through on on power generation, on traction in the likes of freeing up bandwidth. So yes, I sense that that there is a real intent for action. I think the key question is the actual capability to execute. I mean, first of all, do we have a state that's actually going to be capable of executing? Moreover, that it will be capable of executing ethically and nimbly. And of course, the actual targets themselves, such as the number of jobs mooted, the amount of power generation, are massive stretch targets. They really are very, very demanding, and it would take, I think, substantial effort to actually hit those targets.
Yeah, it's going to get quite difficult from here on in. It always has been a difficult task nonetheless. Here's another difficult task, though. Out in the United States, we're still waiting for a stimulus effort out of the U.S. To perhaps pump more money into that economy. We've seen jobless claims even rise to another 2-month high in that front. So clearly, things aren't recovering as quickly as that administration would like to believe.
Well, I think here's the rub. Everyone wants to throw $1 trillion or $2 trillion at the problem, or $3 trillion. I think the issue is they can't agree what sort of decimal place of $1 trillion it's going to be. And of course, all participants want to take the credit alone. But the net result is that they all want to release stimulus, but they all want to do it only after the election. And the net result is, yes, we will get stimulus in the US, but not before the election. So talk about a series of own goals there. I think that the question as far as the market goes is, well, every day that's spent fiddling is the chance that there's further economic scarring, loss of potential momentum, etc., which means that the potential impact of stimulus later is much less than stimulus now, given the sort of hand-to-mouth nature in which economies often run, and certainly in which recoveries need to happen. So the stimulus will happen, but the form is quite clearly unclear.
Yeah, that certainly will be very unclear for, as you said, until perhaps after this election. And look, the result of which we also don't know, right? That may take some time to get to as well. We'll see how things fare there. Let's very quickly just go on to our local currency now. Back at 16 Rand 53.54 odd against the US dollar. That's pretty much where we started the day yesterday as well then. After the president's speech, though, we fell off around 1%. Is the recovery our own, or is there perhaps some weakness in this US dollar?
Look, I think we're looking at a structurally weak environment for the US dollar, but this right now, I think most of the news dominating the rand is really the kind of news that relates to all emerging market currencies, and I mean, as far as foreign participation in our financial markets, well, I mean, at this stage we are substantially on our own anyway, so there's sort of almost less and less foreign impulses coming through, and it basically, the buck now stops here.
It certainly does, doesn't it, Warwick? Thank you so much for the time this Friday afternoon. Appreciate it. Always appreciate your insights here on SABC News. Warwick Lucas there from Galileo Capital, helping us unpack the market picture. That brings things to an end from me here this Friday. That's my week then. Certainly has been a filled one. Now we certainly look towards not just the medium-term budget policy statement, but the end of things perhaps out in Senegal as well. Tensions continue to rise. My colleagues will perhaps be even crossing to the leader of the EFF there, Julius Malema, who would perhaps be speaking to some of his members